Welcome to an epic dive into ancient China's Zhou Dynasty, a time of legendary battles, groundbreaking ideas, and inventions that changed history. For nearly 800 years, from about 1046 to 256 BC, the Zhou shaped the heart of Chinese culture. We will uncover their rise, their genius, some hidden gems, and what was happening around the world. But let's get started. Imagine China around 1046 BC. The Shang Dynasty is crumbling under a cruel king, Di Xin, who's lost the people's trust. Out west, in the Wei River Valley, the Zhou tribe is rising. Led by King Wen, they're building alliances and dreaming big. Wen's son, King Wu, takes it further. At the Battle of Muye, Wu leads 45,000 warriors and 300 chariots across the Yellow River, wielding bronze swords and axes. They crush the Shang in a bloody clash. Poets later wrote of rivers red with blood. This victory launches the Zhou Dynasty, the longest in Chinese history, lasting until 256 BC. The Zhou had a secret weapon, the Mandate of Heaven. This idea said heaven picked the rightful ruler, but only if they ruled justly. If a king failed, heaven could choose a new leader. The Zhou claimed the Shang lost this mandate, justifying their takeover. This concept wasn't just clever propaganda. It became a core belief, guiding Chinese rulers for centuries. Lesser-known fact, King Wu died just 3 years after Muye, leaving his young son, King Cheng, in charge. The real hero was the Duke of Zhou, Wu's brother, who ruled as regent and crushed rebellions to keep the dynasty alive. He's also credited with writing parts of the I Ching, a famous book of divination used for centuries to guide decisions. The Zhou ruled a vast territory stretching across northern and central China. To manage it, they set up a feudal system, like a giant teamwork pact. The king gave land to nobles, often family or allies, who promised loyalty, soldiers, and taxes. These lords ran their lands like mini-kingdoms, building their own armies and collecting crops like rice and millet. It worked well at first, but over generations, some lords got greedy, sparking fights over land and power. The dynasty splits into two eras, Western Zhou from 1046 to 771 BC and Eastern Zhou from 770 to 256 BC. In the Western Zhou, the capital was Haojing, near modern Xi'an. Kings kept tight control, and the land was mostly peaceful. They built grand palaces and held rituals to honor ancestors, believing the spirits could bring good or bad luck. But in 771 BC, rebels and nomadic Xirong tribes attacked Haojing, killed the king, and forced the Zhou to move east to Luoyang. This started the Eastern Zhou, where kings were more like figureheads, and powerful states started calling their own shots. Did you know? The Zhou invented a clever taxation system where farmers paid rent and crops, which helped fund the king's court and armies. This idea spread to other cultures. The Zhou Dynasty was a hotbed of ideas and creations. The Eastern Zhou, especially, was called the 100 Schools of Thought, a time when thinkers debated how to fix the chaos of warring states. Confucius, born around 551 BC, taught that respect, family, and duty could bring harmony. His ideas, called Confucianism, shaped Chinese government, schools, and families for thousands of years. Taoism, linked to Laozi, urged people to live simply and flow with nature like water in a stream. These philosophies weren't just talk. They guided how people lived, from farmers to emperors. Did you know? Another thinker, Laozi, pushed for universal love and peace, saying war was a waste. His ideas didn't catch on as much, but they inspired later movements. On the invention side, the Zhou were unstoppable. They started using iron for plows and weapons, making farming and fighting easier. Iron plows could dig deeper, growing more wheat and rice. They invented the crossbow, a deadly weapon that could pierce armor from far away, way scarier than a regular bow. They also improved bronze, crafting stunning ritual vessels with swirling dragon designs used in ceremonies to honor ancestors. The Zhou's Book of Songs, a collection of 305 poems from 1000 to 600 BC, gave us a peek into their lives, love, work, and even complaints about taxes. Lesser-known fact, the Zhou developed early astronomy, tracking stars to predict harvests. Their star maps were so good, later dynasties built on them. While the Zhou were ruling, the world was buzzing. In the Middle East, Israel was forming its early kingdoms. Around 1000 BC, King David united tribes and made Jerusalem a holy city. By 722 BC, during the Zhou's eastern period, the Assyrians conquered northern Israel, scattering its people. In Babylon, a mighty empire rose under King Hammurabi's code, around 1750 BC, before the Zhou. But by 539 BC, Persia took over, building a massive empire. These places were trading goods like spices and gold, just like the Zhou traded jade and silk. In Europe, things were quieter. During the Zhou's time, Greece was in its geometric period, 900 to 700 BC, with small villages making pottery with zigzag patterns. By the late Zhou, Greece's archaic period began, birthing early city-states like Athens. In Italy, the Etruscans were crafting tombs and jewelry, laying roots for Rome. Farther north, Celtic tribes were farming and fighting with bronze swords. Around 800 BC, the city of Carthage was founded in North Africa by Phoenicians, becoming a trade hub that rivaled early Greek cities. The Zhou didn't know it, but their world was part of a bigger web of ideas and goods. By the Eastern Zhou, the dynasty was in trouble. The spring and autumn period saw states like Qi and Chu flexing their muscles, ignoring the king. Then came the Warring States period, 475 to 221 BC, a brutal time when 7 big states battled for control. Armies grew huge. Some had 100,000 soldiers. The Zhou king was like a mascot, powerless as states built walls and forged iron weapons. In 256 BC, the state of Qin captured the Zhou capital Chengzhou and killed King Nan, ending the dynasty. Soon after, Qin unified China under the Qin Dynasty in 221 BC. But the Zhou's mark never faded. The mandate of heaven kept rulers in check for centuries. Confucianism and Taoism shaped Chinese life, from art to exams for government jobs. Even the Qin used Zhou ideas like standard weights and measures. Did you know the Zhou's feudal system inspired later Chinese land laws? A feudal system is a type of social and political system in which landholders provide land to tenants in exchange for their loyalty and service. Also, some of their bronze designs are still copied in modern art today. That's the Zhou Dynasty, a saga of triumphs, ideas, and epic fights that echoed through time. From the mandate of heaven to iron plows and Confucius's wisdom, they built a legacy that still shapes China and beyond. Curious about ancient China's next chapter? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe for more history adventures. See you next time at the Unseen Tutor.